What's up, everybody? Coach Ceelo here, and welcome to the No Bullshit Six-Figure Sales Podcast. And today we've got a doozy because today I'm starting another mini series of podcasts. So the last mini series I did was on the sales process, but this is going to be on the woo-woo of sales and the sales business. Just so you guys understand what that means, for those of you that are spiritually inclined, a lot of this is going to resonate with you, but those that aren't, there are neurological and psychological answers to everything. So I'm going to be covering side by side why these things I'm talking about are important regardless of where you fall in that. And just to give you guys an idea, some of the things I'm going to be talking about, so here's the thing. They're going to start off kind of more in the middle, and then they'll keep moving on from there, right? So basically, we're starting off with the power of belief. Then we're going to get into visualization. We're going to get into affirmations. We're going to get into being in the zone. We're going to talk about negativity and evil eye and charms and amulets and trinkets, and then end up with the big bang in manifestations. So today, my focus is going to be on the power of belief. And the reason why I chose this one first is because it covers everything else. See, regardless of where you fall in your beliefs, and I want you guys to please don't misunderstand me. This is completely indifferent to what your beliefs are, what your spiritual beliefs are, what your religious beliefs are. Put all of that aside, because it all starts with the power of belief. Guys, if you don't know this, we're in the conviction game, all right? The more convicted you are, the more you're going to sell, regardless of what you do. Sales is a transfer of emotion. That's it. And whoever has more of that emotion and whoever has more belief in that emotion wins the game. That's the way it's always been. That's the way it's always going to be. So whatever it is that you believe in applies to the things I'm going to be talking about. And so the power of belief is just having a belief in something and then knowing that you know that whatever it is true for you. And when that happens and you have that conviction, it works. There's a closing ratio, just like in your sales. So the power of belief is more important than anything else. And I'll prove it to you. I want you guys to think about when you first started a job, or a sales job, of course, right? Or when you've already been in there for a while and a newbie comes in. 8 times out of 10, the newbie's going to come in and absolutely kill it. They don't know anything about the product. They can't do anything that any of the tenured people can do. How in the world are they coming in and kicking ass that way? Well, I'll tell you why. They just got out of training. The company just taught them everything they needed to know, which 9 times out of 10 is nothing of what they needed to know, right? No offense to my trainers out there. But they also infuse them with belief and conviction in the industry, if they did it right, in the industry, in the company, and in themselves. And when you have belief in the industry, in the company, and in yourself, you are invincible. You are indestructible. Anybody who comes in front of me, I don't care what they got. Whatever they got is not better than what I have. And what I have can fix their problem. So that belief, that power of belief is felt. And when you have so much belief that it overshadows the other person's belief, the minute that you get them to question theirs, that's it. It's over. Now they're open and they're listening. The minute, and let's take it another route that is still the same thing. Have you ever had somebody that came in with already a preconceived notion and they were so sure of it, and it's like, I used to have a friend of mine, a sales rep, that she would call it breaking them or breaking them in. Now, she didn't mean that in a bad way, but what she meant was they came with a strong frame, and if you didn't break that frame, they were never going to be open enough to listen to what you had to talk about, right? So if you come with somebody that comes with an indestructible frame and you have an indestructible frame, guess what's going to happen? There's a collision. And when that collision happens, whoever has a stronger frame ends up swallowing up the other frame. Now, this is all about frame control, right? So you have somebody that comes with that indestructible frame and you've got to break it. Well, how do you break it? You break it with a very strong conviction, or you start asking them questions that have to do with what you're selling or what their problems may be. And you ask them questions that you absolutely know they won't be able to answer. You know they won't be able to answer them, or they won't be able to answer them to the level and to the detail that you're asking them. And so what that happens now is you just popped a hole in that balloon and they're starting to deflate. And now they realize that you're the authority in this subject, or at least that you are more of an authority than them in this subject. Doesn't matter. The point is you have now deflated, and now your bubble envelopes their bubble. Now they are in your bubble. Now they are in your frame. Now, those of you that are a little bit more spiritually inclined, guess what? If you believe in auras and that kind of stuff, you have an aura of energy around you. And when you come into contact with somebody else, they have an aura of energy around you. And so either there's going to be a repelling or there's going to be an integration. And the only way there's an integration is if either one envelopes the other or both frequencies kind of come together and match. Now, for those of you that don't want to see it that way, I'll give you another way of thinking about it. Real simple. It's like rapport. When they first come in, they come in closed. You open them up. You build rapport. What's rapport? What's mirroring? Isn't that both of you sinking in? Isn't that a synchronization? It's all the same thing, guys. That's what I'm trying to explain to you. So it doesn't matter which one of these different versions that I'm telling you right now you believe in. I don't care what version of the story that I'm telling you you believe in. What I care is that you pick one that resonates with you and you believe it with all your heart. Because once you do that, it's over. If you're thinking it's energy and you're enveloping their energy, boom. You believe that with all your heart. You know what's going to happen. You integrate them into your bubble. It's done. You believe that it's all neurological, psychological, and you're building rapport and you're integrating them now when they came closed and now you open them up and now you've got that warm and fuzzy feeling. What's a warm and fuzzy anyway? It's all the same thing. You want to take it a little further? Listen, by the way, I'm gonna be mentioning scientific. Actually, I'm not, but I'm gonna be mentioning scientific data. I'm gonna be mentioning that there's proof. Whenever I say that, just go out and do your own research, and you'll see that I'm right. Because I don't have the time to actually post it and put it on here. But just know that I've read the books and I've understand the psychology and I understand how it works enough to deliver this to you, right? So if you're one of those analyticals, God bless you, and you want to go down that route and you want to see that I'm 99.875% accurate and you want to make sure, go and do the research yourself. But I'm telling you it's there, right? Another way of looking at it, if you want to think of the energy bubble or whatever, but you want to make it a little more scientific, they already know, this is already proven, that your mind, your thoughts are actually electrical impulses, and that there's a certain distance that it goes out to, and then it starts dissipating as it goes farther and farther. Well, if there's a certain distance around you, is that not a freaking bubble? So again, whether you want to go the scientific route, whether you want to go the neurological or sales route, whether you want to go the spiritual route, it doesn't matter. What matters is the belief that you put to that one thought or theory or way of seeing things, and then going all in on that, because it will give you the strength and the conviction to move forward. And that is the power of belief. And that is how you overcome. Here's another one. Have you ever been in a situation where you thought you didn't have a sale? They thought, the guest, the customer, whatever, thought you didn't have a sale. But they're not getting up and leaving. There's so much rapport there. There's so much of an integration energetically. There's so much of they're in your bubble, right? So you didn't quite close the sale, but they're not getting up. The old timers, the old school people would say they're waiting for you to close them. They want you to close them, finish them off. The point is that your conviction is still overpowering them. They are still in your bubble. And then let's continue. So you thought you didn't have a sale. They thought you didn't have a sale. And then all of a sudden, you try a third time or a fourth time or a fifth time, you loop it and you come back. I've explained that before, right? And then all of a sudden, you found the right combination. You said the right thing. The little light bulb lit up in the top of their head. Bam, you got a sale and it's done. It's exactly the same thing. But that would have never been possible if that rapport wasn't still there, if that energy transfer wasn't still there, if they weren't in that bubble. That would not have happened. If you did not believe in yourself. Now remember, you thought you didn't have anything. But here's what you did know. They're not getting up. I've told myself that a million times. I'm like, they've said no. I've gone over all the objections, everything, but they haven't gotten up. All right, so they want me to close them. There's something. They want me to help them feel enough conviction, because they're here. They want me to give them enough conviction that they'll go. And sometimes it's not even about them. Sometimes it's about they're thinking when they get home and their spouse or what their friends are going to think, or what, who knows? There's something that they haven't shared with you. And sometimes you can, because you've got that rapport and because you're in sync and because you've got all of these things that are kind of there, they're not getting up. You're feeling it. We're like, you're vibing. It's almost like when you're flirting with somebody, right? And you've got that vibe. You can feel it. Man, what's going on here? At that point, you've probably, hopefully, earned the right, because of that connection, to even ask them, man, I'm just curious. You know, where did I go wrong with you here? Because to me, it makes so much sense. You said you needed this, this, this. We're able to do this, this, this. Like, and sometimes they'll tell you. And all they want is for you to help them overcome that objection, or to give them the ammunition to overcome that objection. Because emotionally, they're in. They just needed a little bit maybe of logic to convince themselves. Kind of like when you buy a bunch of stuff and you go home and then you're like, why did I do this? Oh, because it was on sale. Really? It's because you wanted to. But because it was on sale is the reason that you're using to justify it. It's all the power of belief. Let's take another example. Have you ever had somebody that you had that awesome connection? You absorbed them into your sphere, your energy field, your rapport, your whatever you want to, your warm and fuzzy, right? It was great connection. They actually tell you, man, I'd love to hang out with you sometime. Let's hang out. Let's do it. They feel like you're a friend. You feel like they're a friend. And then they leave the bubble. They're out of the ether. That's another word for it. They're out of the ether. And life hits them. Shit happens. The kitchen needs remodeling. The dog needs braces. The kids need new clothes for the school. The car needs tires, whatever. And now they're calling you, telling you that they want to rescind, that they want a refund, that they want whatever. Nobody likes getting those calls. And then you're like, oh, crap, what am I going to do? Whatever. Some of you avoid it like the plague. Don't. Sticking your head in the sand is not going to make it go away. It's going to make it worse, actually, because it's going to give them more reasons. Now you're stacking the reasons in the opposite direction. You want to be able to nip it in the bud as fast as possible. You want to be able to show them that you said you'd be there and that the minute that they call you, if you're not on another presentation, that you're there, right? So do what you said you were going to do. But the minute that you talk to them, it's as if time never elapsed. It's as if they were in that bubble again. And even if you say the stupidest thing, they're back in the bubble and you're good. Has that ever happened to you? It's happened to me a bunch of times. Why? Power of belief. The minute they left your frame, the minute they left your bubble, the minute they left from that mixing of auras, the world got them. And now their aura and their bubble and their whatever is mixing with everything else. And like I said, life happens. But the minute they got on the phone with you, whoop, they felt that conviction, that belief, that power that you had before. And like I said, it's not even about convincing them of anything. They just needed to feel that same feeling they had. They wanted to make sure that they weren't stupid, that they didn't get scammed or fooled by somebody. They see that you are who you said you were, and they just needed to hear your voice, hear you say a couple of things, and it's done. That happens all the time. Does that mean I save all the sales? No, there's always going to, guys, it's a numbers game. It's going to happen. But I'm saying, think about what I'm saying, though. Has that happened to you in your career? And when it has, did it not happen the way I just said? So it's the power of belief. And the reason why I chose the power of belief today is because this is the base where we're going to build on all the other stuff. I call it the woo-woo just for fun, just for shits and giggles, and just because I know a lot of my salespeople don't believe in any of this stuff, right? But when you put it the way I'm going to lay it out, when you put it in terms of there's a psychological explanation, there's a spiritual explanation, you're going to find that the definition you put to it doesn't matter. What matters is the belief you put behind it. What is a tear? Like, have you ever just gone on a rip of a bunch of sales where you're just killing it? Or the opposite? You've gone on a horrible losing streak? What is it that happens? Did the leads change? Did the presentations change? Don't get me wrong. You could get the shitty end of the stick. You could be on wrong side of the wheel. All of that, which also falls into these topics, right? But your belief about them is what creates everything else that's going to happen afterwards. Your positive or negative attitude is going to attract more of that, so that the next person you talk to that might have wound up with you or might have wound up with your coworker, if one is more positive than the other and their energy is more positive than the other, who do you think the positive person's going to wind up with? Who do you think the negative person's going to wind up with? Guys, you could think of it in that sense, or you can just think of it in terms of psychology. If somebody comes in with a positive attitude and you're giving off a little bit of negativity, forget about energy. Let's just say negativity. You're negative. What do you think is going to happen to them pretty soon? They're going to turn negative. Where's that presentation going? It's going to suck. There's going to be a lot of work to do. But now, if you're in a great attitude, great mindset, shit happens. You don't let it rolls off you. You get somebody. The next person's negative, you deal with it. Next person's positive, it's going to go really well. But it's not going to create that streak. There's a saying out there, I love it, that says, let's see if I remember it right. There is no such thing as, what was it? It's like there's no such thing as a bad streak. Oh, there's no such thing as a bad month or a bad week or even a bad day. It's just a bad moment that you couldn't let go of. And the difference between a top performer and someone who's at the bottom of the wheel is how much time it takes them to recover from that bad moment. The pros, a couple of seconds, maybe a couple of minutes. As you start going down the line, it'll take some people maybe a couple hours. Some other people, it'll take them a day. Some people, that might screw them for the whole week, because if you had a bad day and then the next day you have a bad day, now all of a sudden you're seeing it. You're perpetuating it as it turning into a bad week. And guess what the hell you're going to have? A bad week. But if you believe I'm the type of person that is lucky, luck finds me all the time, weird, funny shit happens to me all the time, I'm the type of person that does X, 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 X. When some fluke like that happens, that's exactly what you think it is, a fluke. Oh, that was a fluke. If 2 or 3 of them happen in a row, you're like, huh, isn't that interesting? I must have something huge coming my way to offset this, because I'm not the kind of person this happens to. Which, by the way, is another thing we're going to be talking about, which is identity. Anything that you link to your identity, if you think you're to yourself, I am the type of person who, whatever you put behind that, that's indestructible. And if you're indestructible, your sales are going to be indestructible. Guys, this not only applies to sales, it applies to life. I'm Coach Ceelo, and I have helped thousands of other salespeople break, reach, and maintain 6 figures. And you keep listening to me, you'll be the next.